myself gravitating to waterfowl. You know, that is my inside and out, what makes me tick, you know.
That's my passion. That's why
100%.
50, you know, I hunt 55 plus days a year and have done it for 27, 28 years. I come from the commercial side, was able to be part of some of the best camps in Southwest Louisiana on the commercial side, and then also on a private side. And I'm older, so I saw the 70s when the point system. I saw the 3 duck days. I saw when it came back, the ducks started coming back, and now I'm here. From where it's come, I got to know Josh, and Josh has got so much information, so much. There was questions that I had, that I'm here every day. I see it. I see that the ducks aren't coming down anymore, and when appeared to me like we're getting a push of ducks that comes down end October, 1st November, and then we get another push about the first week of December, and that's it. It seems to me for the year, and I didn't know what was happening. I thought duck numbers were going down, and I met Josh, and Josh asked me, he says, when's the last good year? When did you think that you saw a change in the duck hunting in South Louisiana? I said 2000. I said that's where I really started noticing something. And then he told me he started touching base with me and educating me on things that I didn't know on, you know, we all know the Migratory Bird Treaty and how it regulates our harvesting of waterfowl, and it's the Bible on how we can hunt ducks and geese and waterfowl in the U.S., or actually all North America. Well, I didn't realize that had been changed or altered in 1998, and Josh started telling me and showing me not just his opinion but facts. And every time I had a question, if he didn't have the answer, within a day he got back to me. And all the questions I had and the facts he told me or showed me lined up exactly to what my experience was. And we're hearing weather changes, and look, I started hunting in 76.
Sure.
Since 1976 to 2019, we've had cold years, we've had dry years, we've had wet years, we've had warm years, and we've killed ducks. Last year was an extremely cold year. We killed ducks, not great. This year, I think if you go all through the coast, that it's the worst hunting season of my lifetime.
I want to jump in here. So for me, I've been duck hunting for, let's say, 17 years, 36, and I grew up in that Memphis area. So, Memphis up towards Nashville, Arkansas, going up to Missouri. Never went south, past, I'd say, outside that little block right around Memphis. But I hunted all the way down south of Mississippi to 55. So Tunica, all the way down the Delta. And that was my everyday stomping ground. In 2012, we had an Arctic blast. I remember sitting in the duck pit with my middle son, and it was 36 degrees when we got started. It was 17 degrees when we left 3 hours later. And that was the last year. I mean, we had two awadas.
You said 2014?
2012.
2012.
This is Arkansas. Now, we had a wad of 200 teal out there, and I remember that. The years prior to that, these boys were able to sit in a pit in Arkansas and in the Delta, and I ain't kidding you. We would watch drove after drove after drove, and I'm not talking craziness. I'm talking about
killable birds.
Just thousands upon thousands upon thousands of ducks coming, and hunting from 2010, I'd want to say. 2012 was a keystone. 2015 and now today, we don't see anything. The farm that we've been on for the last 12 years over in Arkansas, right outside Memphis. I mean, it is a natural resting ground. We have Lake Wapanaka, the Mississippi River, and this farmland is just pure, agriculture. Whether it's beans, whether it's rice. And it's done right, but we would hold thousands, hundreds of thousands of ducks and geese The geese are still there, but the ducks aren't. You know.
So you brought up, touched on something there about the years. Josh asked me, what was the best 10 years of my life duck hunting? I think everybody in Louisiana that's my age or older will tell you in their lifetime it was 1975 to 1985.
That's that's our generation's highlights from the Delta through that point right there.
So that was the 10 duck days where my dad, I was growing up then, and if I jump up and shoot a gray duck, you know, I'd get scolded because you wanted to kill pintails and teal and maybe some Weegians. We never thought about spoonbills or any of the jacks and any of the things that we're having to divers. You know, they were there, but we just didn't even notice them.
That's right.
And so I told Josh that. He told me, and I said, Josh, you wouldn't have believed the amount of birds that there were in South Louisiana at that time. I just can't make you understand that. He said, what would you say if I told you there was 10 times the number of breeding pairs now that there was then? I said, there's no way, Josh. We're not seeing them. I mean, I think we'd be lucky to have 10% of the birds we had then. And he showed me the graphs. He showed me the research. He just backed everything up. And then I was like, well, Josh, where are they? And then he started showing me and how Louisiana was number 1 on the kill count for years. And now we're like 6.
Always has been. It was the highlight, the glory ground was Louisiana.
Yeah, the hallowed ground of duck hunting.
It was always been that way, but in 2010, that's when, so north of Paragould, north of Jonesboro, never had nothing until you got up north. There was no duck hunting. You know, you had the Black River, you had the White River, the Cache River. Once you got past Jonesboro, Pocahontas, and the Missouri, there was nothing. Now, 2010 on forward, every single farm up there has flooded. It's now all rice or corn. These birds, we used to get from Jonesboro down to about Jackson, Mississippi. You know, right. We don't get any of it. Zero.
Well, you know, I hate calling people out and saying things about a certain individual because I don't like looking like I'm just hating on this one person or this one outfit. There's tons of them up there. But whenever you look on the grand scale of things, you said 2010, you look at what year Habitat Flats went into establishment, 2008. So they was fully into effect by 2009. They have 52,000 acres that they run in North Missouri. Now he's done opened up Manitoba, Saskatchewan, North Dakota, North Arkansas, Kansas. Well, it's like a timeshare for duck hunting, but it's only for big money, and not everyone can afford it. Now, this man holds more ducks on 52,000 acres than the whole state of Louisiana was holding first split.
You know,
that's crazy.
It is crazy, but here's what hurts me is that boy right there will never experience what I got to.
You're right.
And I might not get to sit there with my grandchildren and watch the lessons that he learned him teach at. To me, that's what drew me here. That's what has drawn me, and I have tried to mimic it, replicate it, buy it. You just can't find it.
No.
And what I found with my children is that I can take a good duck hunt, whether we shoot a little too early, when we should have just waited. Everything that I find in duck hunting, I can relate to life, and I can teach that lesson. And you know, they have a saying: you give a man a fish, he can eat for a day. Teach a man to fish, he can provide for his family for a lifetime.
Or go broke trying.
Or go broke trying. But you know, guys, there's so many different factors, and you know, every one of them started and should be mission statement for the sportsman. And for me, that's what my passion is to do, is to fight for the sportsman, whether it's...
That's what brought me to where we're at today. I know the Flyway Federation, that's Josh's kind of kicked that off, and it's really gaining some traction.
But that's for everybody.
It is for everybody.
And you know,
there has to be someone to start everything. There was somebody that started Ducks Unlimited. There was somebody that started Delta. There was somebody that started the American Red Cross. Whatever it is, there's somebody. Well, Josh was that guy that started it, but we're a grassroots organization made up of duck hunters that have all had the same experiences, where people are telling us it's the weather, it's the losing of the coast, it's the sugar cane, it's all these things.
There's a ton of variables that play in, but you have to look at where it changed.
Numbers don't lie. Numbers don't lie, and neither does information. When you can zero it all out and start coming back forth, there's things in there that needs to be looked at a little bit closer.
Most
and
definitely.
by God, I feel like it is my generation and our time to do that. Here's my biggest thing. I have the opportunity to see, I've had the opportunity to see it from the north, Illinois. I almost made Canada, just didn't. But watch it from there all the way here. I started in teal season, went up, went down. I've been just kind of watching, and there's one thing that's going on down our flyway. Everybody's having the same problem. There are no ducks.
You got to be on the X mark. We've talked about it.
We have, but they're scattered. It's the same group of ducks that are moving from place to place, whether it was the residentials in the beginning or the first push, but it's like they're here one day, they're gone the next. They're over here, they're over there. And I'm no biologist, guys. I'm just a guy that's passionate about duck hunting and wanted to go out and see what it was about.
Well, see, if you look at the Forbes counts, for instance, that the Forbes counts is what flies Illinois, Missouri, all those refuges and federal. A lot of them are unhuntable to me and you and your son and Ronnie. We can't go hunt them. So birds that you didn't even see are setting on these refuges. And you'll notice one thing. All right, thank God Canada is stopping the baiting issue, hopefully as of spring of 2019, so that no longer are they going to be able to do the baiting permits in Canada. So therefore those birds are going to go ahead and come down. But we got to fix what's in between us, just like Canada did. So the problem that you see is, because Canada is slowing them down, then they get slowed down all the way. Well, by the time they get to us, it's already past season. And we film them. I filmed them last year, but you can watch the Forbes counts. Blue wings aren't even fully leaving that area until mid-November.
That's crazy. We were shooting blue wings.
And we're putting a hurt on the population by doing it.
10 years ago, it was unheard of shooting a blue wing until maybe the last week of the season. Shot them the first week of the season and the last week. In the middle, especially if you had a cool snap, they just disappear.
They're gone.
And we kill blue wings today.
You watch those numbers, and that's what I kept trying. No one, the younger gen, and I'm not making fun of them, but they don't want to look at the graphs. They don't want to read the numbers. They want me to paint this picture for them that is so hard because it's so large. So if they look at the numbers, you'll see the birds showing up on these fed refuges.
That's exactly right.
And they'll climb.
100%.
And they'll steadily climb. And then all of a sudden, you'll see them right at the end of January. Guess what? Water levels are being dropped out. Pumps are being turned off. They drop. Lewis and Clark Lake, prime example. Last year, held over 1 million mallards. That's just mallards. That's not other species.
That's right.
1 million mallards due to supplemental feeding and dumping of grain around the lake on top of snow. 1 million mallards all season, 500,000 left January 22nd. Where'd it go? They came down south.
And that's the issue. We're starting to be where ducks equal bucks. Whenever it costs you $800 a day to go kill ducks for 3 days.
A natural resource that should be for everybody.
That's right. Whenever how you survive. Remember the old duck pillars and everything?
Now it's gotten to be a business where if we want to be able to consistently harvest birds, we have to plan a trip to some northern state
and migrate to the birds.
Yes, to the birds coming to us.
That's exactly what I felt like over the weekend coming back down south to come home. I said, I was telling Hunter, I said,
you got a polar vortex coming down, you're heading north.
Feels like, we are migrating.
Yeah.
I'm not against the people in Nebraska,
Illinois,
and Missouri, and Kansas, and Oklahoma.
And I'm not against their business.
No,
but
I just want to fight in tennis.
I lived in Oklahoma for 5 years, back in the late 80s, worked up there. We killed ducks as good as they kill ducks now. The difference was about December 15th, the ducks would leave. And then the few ducks we would kill, we would have to really hunt them. The ducks would migrate south. I never heard of reverse migration until 2000. That's something new. And what that tells me is every time it gets cold, it pushes the birds off of this provided food source for them. As soon as it warms up a little bit, they go right back to the provided food source.
Because it's a preferred food source. It's almost like a drug to them. And it's been proved. You can read Waterfowl of Tomorrow from 1964. They will tell you how the government put into place after World War II these refuge systems and basically did legalize baiting only federal refuges to provide hunting opportunities to the northern hunters with Canada geese. Well, by doing that, they started stopping snow, specks, mallards. Well, now it's no longer just done on a small scale on a federal refuge.
No, it's done.
Everybody and their mama that wants to get a piece of property and start a club or even get a write-off.
In the 50s, we were the #1 wintering area of Canada geese in the country. Now they allow us to hunt them, but you and I both know it's just a byproduct. It's just it's like killing tree ducks. There's a few of them here, enough I guess to warrant hunting, but it's there's no sustainable number here. They all stay north of us. And I'm understanding that people are doing it to the state of Illinois now. You know, Illinois is the one that did it to the south, and now it's happening to them. And I know that there's pressure, but we've lost 80, I hear pressure all the time. We've lost 80,000 duck stamps, which converts to hunters. How are we having more pressure and we lost 80,000 hunters? That doesn't make sense to me.
You can explain it because you have.
Yeah, what it is the people that, when I grew up, these areas were all hunted. Now we have large areas of private land that are almost refuges, and people are hunting on the outside of them, which you didn't really have a lot of back in the 70s and early 80s. Everything that was big was commercially hunted. Well, those birds should be sitting there, and you should be killing off of them. We're actually in my opinion, the areas I hunt here, there's about the same amount of pressure that there was in blinds then, except for the big areas where there's no one hunting. And Sabine Refuge doesn't have 10% of the pressure it had when I was growing up. And y'all passed it this morning.
And doesn't have 5% of the ducks that wintered on.
So I don't understand is how we're having these. They can't blame pressure when you've got 10,000 acres in front of us this morning. You get
one migration early. Those ducks that are dedicated, just like whenever the Canada goose stopped coming, okay? There was still Canada geese coming. So the state said, whoa guys, we're gonna stop the Canada goose season in 1970. We're not gonna have a goose season in 71 because these small amount of birds that we have, we're gonna try to let them build back up in hopes that they keep coming with their babies. Well, what happened was people either shot them off or they fully quit coming. And that's what's happening to the ducks. We're still getting a dribble effect off of a valve, like a leaky valve. We're still getting those birds that are dedicated to coming to Louisiana no matter what. But once those birds are gone, it's over.
Well, I've got a worse thing. Before we go further, if we've got 10 times the breeding pairs that we had in 1975, you let us go through one drought year where the number drops 20%, 25%. There will be no more ducks for Louisiana.
Man, that's scary. That's scary as losing a football
it's going to come.
It's
going to come.
Here's the thing. You have tons and tons of facts and knowledge. You know, you have years and years of experience, you know, in the industry, you know, front line. It takes a team. You know, we can be good at a lot of things, but we can be really good at one of them. And, you know, no matter how hard we try, living every day, you know, doing our daily routines and trying to get this out, we only go so far. You know, and what I find in the Flyway Federation is a natural pool of just true sportsmen, waterfowlers that want to know what in the world is going on and how in the world do we make a difference.
And let's fix it.
And let's fix it. And you know, for me, that's where the interest is, when you take the dollar out of the organization and you go to the true fact of that young man and your come up and your passion and my passion and everybody's, I feel like, you know, that'll be heard. You know, when you look at ducks equals bucks, you know, whether it's auctioning things off, whether it's trips, whether it's these high-end reserve, you know, lodges or hunts, you know, it's all about the dollar. When the dollar goes away, guys, there's nothing more to look at. It's all about doing what's right. And you know, this is the oldest thing in history of mankind is hunting.
We got to restore fair
guys,
chase into the
exactly.
Flyway, to where from Canada all the way to Mexico, and even some of these areas like Argentina that don't have regulations, that these birds migrate to.
Mexico.
We need to check into it.
Well, there's
but we've got to all come together for the Migratory Bird Treaty and restore it so that we can. They talked about it in 1998 in sitting ducks. USFWS enforcement agents were being threatened. Their jobs were over speaking out over the Migratory Bird Treaty reform. They said no. Everything that they said in that article has come true to this day. It's happening. And they said you're going to end fair chase. You're going to end us being able to enforce the law if you do this. And it's going to hurt the ducks because they're going to a bird feeder basically.
That's exactly right.
And they said you cannot do this because if you do, you are ending fair chase in the Flyway.
Well, when we talk about educating the birds, birds naturally have a navigation. They have an instinct to go. When we,
survival.
Exactly. When we change this year after year and new bird after new bird, we're retraining these birds to be. So it's scary, guys. You know, and I commend you for what you're doing. I commend you for standing up and wanting to fight the fight, and I appreciate the opportunity for this young man to come out here and experience this with y'all, because I don't know half the stuff, and I know that they're not being taught half the stuff, and the way that everything's going with instant gratification, and we just go out and you look at social media, you look at everything, it's all about numbers and straps. You know, hey, we just come out here and kill 60 ducks, you know, and it's not about that, man. It's about just the legacy and the hard work of doing it, but you're not going to have that anymore. And these kids,
well, they're not going to have that.
Know.
They're not going to have the skills and the ability to do any other way other than to go hunt over a baited, I'm going to call it what it is, a baited field, a pile of bait. This morning you saw we had to call, everything had to be perfect. Decoys have to be right. Call, if you overcall, they don't come. If you undercall, they don't come. You have to know when to. Everything's got to be hidden. I mean, you see this.
And it's hard to teach them whenever you ain't got enough to teach them with.
And then when you go to a place where you can stand in the boat and the birds come in, well, why are they going to go through learning to duck call? Why are they going to learn to grasp the blind? Why are they going to do all these things when you don't have to?
It's a dying art. It's dying.
Which is sad.
It is sad. But it's just not here. You know, there's enough up and down this Flyway and even on different other ones that, you know, something has to be done, and it's like they're screaming for help. You know, it's just what do we got to do to pull this in, and just like you said, grassroots. You know, grassroots. And guys, I don't know what more to say there except for, man, this is a scary time, and you know,
we don't step up and fix it. 10 years from now, we won't be standing here after a morning duck hunt.
That's right.
You're exactly right.
That to me.
And if you don't have ducks, what reason
important.
do they have to take care of the Atchafalaya, Sabine Wildlife Refuge, Rock? There ain't no need really, because a lot of people, everyone down here wants to duck hunt, but they're not going to be spending the money on duck stamps for the breeding grounds, for conservation efforts. We've got to stand together and do something.
I feel like we have something. I feel like what you've got going on, and I feel like it's all about the truth and the facts. And for me, that's pure. That's not tainted. That's not one-sided. That is about the facts, and it doesn't matter about anything else or who you are or where you come from. And when we're sitting in that duck blind, we all share the same goal. When that bird comes in, It don't matter if you're a doctor, lawyer, janitor, on the street. We share that feeling right there.
Well,
and that's what bonds it all together.
we, for me, it's a lifestyle, it's a passion.
Mm-hmm.
That's what brought me to where I'm at. That's what got me in line with Josh. And always, there's an old saying that hard work beats talent. Well, I think that we hope that hard work beats big money, because we have, as it stands now, we're just getting started, but we've got a long road ahead of us. But I think we're doing it for the right reason, and I don't think you're going to find a more passionate group than you have here.
I believe that if you do something and you get hammered every step of the way and you grind it out to where you don't know if it's right or wrong and you continue to move forward, it's the right thing to do.
Yep.
And
That's
That's
where we're at now.
right thing to
That's
do.
where we're here now.
And guys, I appreciate this morning. Thank
Well,
you for taking us out.
Man,
Ronnie,
glad you
it was
came.
a pleasure, man. It was a pleasure.
I appreciate you coming, man.